welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to unbox a behemoth of a game that arrived a little bit ago, but I was waiting for you to come up because we're going to actually be playing it this week as well.
We are going to be playing it.
That's the plan. Devin's read through the rulebook, meaning he can tell you everything you need to know about it.
Oh dear goodness, don't put that kind of pressure on me. I've read through the rulebook.
Including the weirdest way to... You just opened like a diaper flap in the side of that box. This is
Well,
Euthia.
I have kids, so that makes sense to me.
This is Euthia Tournament of Resurrection, and one of the reasons we're opening this up and playing this is not
Torment of Resurrection.
I read confidently. One of the reasons we're opening this up is because I believe there is a Wave 2/reprint on the horizon. And so I want to get this to the table. I want to be able to talk about it and let you know if it's something you should be considering backing over on Kickstarter, Gamefound, one of the founds.
One of the founds starts.
One of the crowdfunding things.
The crowd found starts.
Now,
The kit crowd.
just for the record, this does fit into a Calyx shelf, but this is about as aggressive as you can get.
It's
other
pretty
than the
aggressive.
trove, other than the trove chest, which fits exactly the boundaries of a Calyx shelf square.
They did that one well.
This is one heck of a thing. So what is Euthia? You want to set up what? I've heard a lot of people compare this to like Mage Knight, for instance, like an updated version of that.
Yeah.
Really beloved game.
So this is a hex tile map lane adventure game. I think most people will probably do competitive mode because I think that's the more traditional style with all of the scenarios. It's a scenario-based game. It's not really like a linear narrative campaign. It's more of scenarios that you set up and you play through. I think some of them might link together, but the scenarios, they give you a particular map start section and objective, and then players will go through and hunt for those objectives over the course of a certain number of rounds, all the while approaching elementals that might come onto the map.
These are so pretty.
They are very pretty. So those are the water, fire, earth, and air elementals.
Yeah, but look at them. They've been washed. They've got the...
They have a nice little wash on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
I'm very excited about this.
I put down all of the ones that were colored and pretty and brought up the gray one, which is the air one.
Well, to be fair, the gray one has also been washed.
It has? Is it clean?
Yeah, it's got a gray, so if you look at what the original color used to be.
Yeah, I guess it does have a little bit
it had a black and then
it has a
gray
little bit
wash
of a contrast
on top
wash
of it.
on it.
Yeah. So this is the elemental pack.
So this is a scenario-based game. You can play this solo, and you can play this cooperatively, but I think the mode that they put the most amount of heart into was the competitive aspect, because you have a joint objective for how the scenario ends, but along the way, you are trying to get more like glory and gold at the end of it based off of the amount of upgrading that you do to your hero and the amount of resources that you collect along the way. So gold is kind of the end-all be-all in terms of what players want. On the interesting note that I'm curious to see how it goes in terms of gameplay.
I'm sorry, I'm not listening to you.
I'm curious. It's fine. It's fine. I'm curious to see.
I just found a washed griffin.
That's the griffin
that
bonus pack.
Incredible.
So I'm curious to see how it functions in terms of gameplay, but one of the unique things that Euthia does is whenever you come up across a monster, one of the other players controls it.
Okay.
And you actually get cards that you only are keeping for the purpose of saving them for when you are the monster fighting one of the other people.
So you're taking control of the AI system of the game.
You are invested in hurting them and making them not as effective in their part, in their quest, in their adventuring,
and they're
because that
invested in
helps
hurting you. And you're not playing the role as just a enemy fighting them. Instead, you're taking the role of...
You're taking the role of the monster. Like,
so you're not...
as you lay out tiles, monsters and elementals and stuff will appear. Anytime someone enters combat with one of them, another player assumes the role of fighting.
This box is like 20 pounds, by the way.
This box is not as heavy. I was wondering if yours was as light as this one is.
No, give this a heft.
That's a heft. That's a heft and a half.
Okay, so here's the rule books.
Custom dice.
Expecting you to go through.
Woo! All right. I mean, I've already been through the main rulebook. I just need to check out the lore book and other stuff.
It's all scenario and lore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? Let's look at what those are.
Oh, these?
because it's not all rule books.
Yes, so those are the elemental scenarios for the miniature pack.
We have scenario book for the elementals. We have the appendix, which is going to be the supplement to the rule book. We have the core rule book. Looks like we have some stickers that maybe go on a few things. And then what are these things? Advancement sheets.
So those are achievements that you can get during the game, and then these are, I believe.
So this is just like for solo or non-solo or solo. You can go through and check off things that you're trying to accomplish.
I think a lot of larger
awesome.
games are getting to the point where they have achievement sheets to where people
See
can like
how good you can
mark the gameplay and like have kind of a memory of what they're able to do.
And these are our four
so
core
this is for
characters.
everything because it does specify that these are for non-solo games. So a lot of this is for solo, but you can have other cooperative and competitive achievements listed.
And then it looks like we have our 4 core characters.
metal coins.
Ooh, open those up. I love putting metal coins in my mouth.
Where's the?
Well, I moved it
knife?
thinking, like, there's no way we're going to need another.
Oh no, I think we're gonna continue to need more stuff because, oh my gosh, that's a ton of space. Look at that. That's cavernous.
Nice.
Oh, the whole thing needs to go in there. That's just a few bags. It's just a few bags.
Bag of baggies.
It's just a few bags.
Just in case you need them for all the tokens, I'm sure.
And these are the organize. Oh, it has an organizer for it.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
appreciated. That's much appreciated.
Because this is the legendary collection, so this is the
That's all the
additional
extra
content that I think
all the extra goodies.
I think might.
I think some of that comes in here.
Well, I think some of that comes in here, possibly.
You don't think that comes in there? Do you think
No,
this
I think
comes
this
in
comes
there?
in there. Yeah.
Maybe so. All right, metal coins. Oh wow, those are chunky. They also have some contrast on these too.
Do they?
And they have a bag, which I think you're gonna like.
Little token bag.
Little token, little coin purse.
They do have a simple little wash on these, don't they? Nice. Piles and piles of cards there.
Piles and piles of cards. So the thing that's going to be intriguing, I think it has the potential to be one of the best parts of the game, and has the potential to be one of the most obtuse or game slowing aspects, because a lot of times when you have adventure games and you have an AI system, if one player is fighting, it's like everybody else is just waiting.
Yep.
They're waiting for this to happen. And there's a lot of big games where that's a main criticism, is that other players are just kind of waiting for someone else to get done. And this, you're a little bit more invested because at least one of the other players is working against you. And in a two-player game, specifically a two-player game,
Yep.
everybody is always involved.
So that's where I'm the most intrigued, either solo or specifically competitive 2-player, which is where I actually enjoyed playing games like Mage Knight the most anyway.
Yeah.
And so, for me,
Card sleeves.
that is
Lots
what I'm
of card
considering.
sleeves.
Nice.
I'd show it to, I mean, I can show it to you, it's just transparency, you know.
Go show it to them.
Okay, I'll show it again. That's a 2 times, you know,
Wow.
2 times, 3 times, 4
Just let
times.
them see that.
Top down, front, top down, front.
Ooh, okay, so
Those are the custom dice.
I pulled these out and I was like,
No, those are the chunky ones. Yeah.
those are pretty.
And you know what's interesting is there's another game that's is it Dark Quarter that is doing dice kind of similar to this?
Yeah, yep, which hasn't
Like
come out
very
yet, but
very artistic and like a lot of like illustration.
hyper stylized. Illustration would be a decent term, I suppose.
I mean, hyper stylized sounded cooler. So those are the elementals that are that influence the board, but also there's monsters, and those are the ones that the players will control. All of these are washed. Look at that dragon. Actually, you know what?
These
Dragons are
heroes.
so cliche. Look at this like rock golem. Look at that.
I like the size of these.
They're very big.
Everyone loves dragons, though.
Yeah, they're overrated.
Are they? All right, this is the person I want
They're
to play.
like a fantasy cliche. Everybody.
This
likes
woman
dragons.
reminds me of, or should I say girl, I'm not sure, reminds me of The Witcher. What's her name?
Yennefer.
Yennefer. Does she not?
Yeah.
Does she not have like
Yeah.
that like
She has
square
that vibe.
jaw
She has that
resemblance of Yennefer? Yeah.
This looks like. Did you start watching that? Have you watched any of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime? The
No.
Critical Role
I haven't
animated
yet.
series.
I haven't yet. I backed it.
This reminds me of Grok
Nice.
or Grok or Grunt.
We have
Can't
a
remember his name.
like barbarian, like Wonder Woman priestess.
And then, speaking of The Witcher, there you go. This is like the dwarf.
It is, yeah.
That works with him.
Nice.
Did you watch season 2 of The Witcher?
Yeah.
I thought season 2 was better than season 1. I thought it improved.
Yeah, I thought season 1 was real slow getting started.
And also, they
The
kind of
back
shot
and
themselves
forth.
in foot with that chronology that didn't make much sense. That they were. I mean, it made kind of sense, but it also didn't.
It made a little bit more sense once you got to the end of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the flashbacks and stuff was
Well,
rough.
like, so here's the thing
Holy
that I
cow.
think is interesting
Nice.
about. That's a lot of.
We've got like
a
custom
lot of stuff.
bags, holders. Looks like we have a buildable.
Oh yes, so that's the buildable like area where you kind of have, I think, the merchant area.
Yeah. Cool.
Because there's several different actions you can do. Like so this is a tile-based game, hex tiles, and they are all like three hexes. So they kind of make a triangle, and you lay them all in the same pattern, like the same direction or orientation every single time, and you start off at like the church, at least in some of the scenarios. Some of them might have a specific other location that you start off at. And then you can go to locations where you mine for natural resources. You can go to locations where you trade. And if you trade at some of the Dragon Slayer towers, I believe they're called, that's where you're able to kind of get some upgraded equipment and also get some of the tokens or abilities that allow you to influence combat. But the interesting thing, though, is that this doesn't have like player elimination. So similar to something like Black Rose Wars, where when you die, you just respawn in the dormitory.
Sure.
When you die in this, you just respawn at the start tile, which is either the church tile or wherever it is based off this scenario.
Here's our character boards.
So you got massive character boards, and if you want to see that, you have your base area, you have your weapons that you slot in here, you have other things that you can unlock. Anything that's got gold on it is a place that you don't have at the beginning of the game, and it's a upgraded slot that you build. And it's also a little bit asymmetric. As you can see, this wizard is not somebody who is obviously going to have like heavier armor gear, but this individual here, like this barbarian woman that you were talking about, she does have armor slots, but it's kind of the ornamentation that you would have to upgrade on her. And then you know, this guy looks kind of like an adventurer. Curiously enough, he doesn't have much armor. Maybe he has kind of more barbarian stats.
Cool.
Yeah, so upgrade that, and you can slot in items on those sack locations.
So I found where all the weight was coming from.
All of the token boards.
Oh my gosh.
So when I set this up, I'm going to be spending at least 30 minutes or more just punching tiles. So this, I'm gonna pump out just this one. So on the back of each tile, you're going to have the kind of like the level that it's at. It starts at 1, moves to 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down. And you can see the progression on there. It starts off as like verdant grassland, and then it moves to swamp, and it will slowly become, you know, desolate landscape as you get further along. So there's a progression, at least visually and, you know, thematically to the locations. But on the flip side of it, you have the orientation of the top and the bottom of the tile, which I was saying all of them slot this way. You don't twist and orient them how you want when you're setting up new tiles. And the way that exploration works is anytime you move to a hex, if it is not fully surrounded by other hexes, you place them out until it's fully surrounded.
Okay.
And so, for example, on this one, it looks like you have a earth elemental here. You have a location in which you can mine or dig for resources, and then this is where the monsters are. It will, if you defeat this monster, which is controlled by another player, you'd get 3 gold, and you'd get a card which will allow you. This is like a silver or gold card, silver because of the, you know, color of the hand, and those are the cards that you get to use in other fights when you are the monster.
So this style of like exploration with characters and creatures and things that you're fighting randomly popping up on the different tiles that you're spawning, is very similar to Mage Knight.
Yeah, and I haven't played that, and I know you have. So
the thing that it has me excited though is the fact that there's so much depth with each character that you can play.
Oh yeah, they have specific tiles and abilities to them that you can unlock from the beginning and stuff like that. There's so much punch board there. Look at the thickness of that punch board like level or stack.
I'm very excited though.
Yeah. No, so what's interesting to me is when I thought of this, the first thing I thought of was RuneScape the board game. Because you can mine, you can fight, and you kill monsters and you upgrade your gear. And visually, kind of, you know, actually,
honestly, I would totally back RuneScape the board game. Just
you
for
would
the
back
record.
RuneScape the board
Do you know
game.
how long I spent getting
Adamantium?
No.
No. Runic.
No.
What's the blue one?
Hear me out. Hear me out. Proficiency level 99. Woodcutting.
Woodcutting. That is so you. That is I always felt
chop down all the dangerous trees.
I always felt so like unskilled next to the people that were like, "Hey, I went and caught lobster." They're like, "Lobster, and I've cooked it. Who wants cooked lobster?" And
I was able to do that.
500 gold a lobster. And
I was able to do cooked lobster.
Just so.
That was a good day.
So rich.
I had a friend that bought ended up getting an auto bot on RuneScape. So his character for hours a day would just move to a location, mine ore, walk back.
He had it like
dump ore.
coded.
Oh yeah, because it's a computer, so you can totally like break
I guess
the system.
so.
It was an auto click. It's like an auto click bot or something like that.
That's crazy.
So every like 3 hours, he'd have to go check in on his character, drop off the gold, and then set him back in.
I just remember like the first time I got adamantine armor fully, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a god. And then someone walked by with runic, and I was like, I'm not a god yet. So yeah. I'm excited though to see how these function, and I think some of these are going to be tied to scenarios,
like end game scenarios, bosses, stuff like that.
And then a lot of these, like, because on the flip side of those, oh no, those are just high level tiles. So yeah, the interesting thing though is that
some of the high levels,
the competitive aspect of this is that if say you go to a site that you want to mine at,
okay.
And I and another player have already mined there. We have our hero tokens there.
Okay.
You can mine, but then you have to pay us because we've already mined there. So it's a little bit of like adventuring area control, where the more you enact your presence and your hero tokens on the board, the more other players might have to cater or pay fealty or whatever to you because you've been there already. It's like you've established your presence and your influence, and they have to work around it. So, very interested. Like, yes, it's got cooperative ability.
This is one of these games that I wish I could spend the next month only playing.
Just this one.
And then I remember that like I do board games for a living, and
you can't.
The channel just won't accept 1 month of straight Euthia content.
Euthia gameplay 45.
But there's there's a lot of games that I want to do that with. Like I like Seventh Continent. I'd love to spend 2 weeks just on that, or like Tainted Grail. I'd love to do a full 50 episode campaign. And it's like,
you know what we should do? We
wants this.
We should do like a top 10 campaign or adventure games that we would just like to play and not do work.
So many. There's so many. Euthia, Tournament of Resurrection.
Torment. Torment.
Who put the water in the well? Why does wood burn? Why can't I walk along the levee? Children are always asking questions, and yet they never stop to think about the strange names given to the places where they live. Me, I've long wondered about the name for my homeland, the Cladar Plain. The landscape is bitten into chunks by fangs of rock and overgrown with dense forests. You can count yourself lucky to see farther than your immediate surroundings without the obstruction of at least a small hill. It dawned on me while studying Rodan, however, that for this part of Euthia, Plain might well be the most suitable name, compared to this flat road where even the slightest rise livens up the experience of the journey. I've been there. Other cities seem to have harrowing passages to them. The maps show roads that squeeze through the tightest and highest mountain passes, work their way along precipices, or amble around the shores of lakes. Pilgrims and raiders never have to exert much effort when visiting Rodan. The Chronicle of Devere. Interesting. So this is just on one of the locations. I was like, I want an introduction, and then I'm realizing this lore book is just establishing the world of. Let's see if there's an introduction here. The writing so far is good, though. I like the world building. Is there
what?
flavor text at the start of this?
No, not in the main rulebook.
How dare you?
It's kind of separated out to that lore book.
Or the scenario?
I'll give you a small introduction. The hunt is the first one.
Like a heavy rain, the ferocious monsters flooded the land. Even people living in the previously safe neighborhood of Church are scared to death and refuse to go out day and night. It's time to hunt these creatures down. Seven game rounds doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah, so
defeat level 2 monsters. Starting map tile is one with the church and not the priest. Create the map tile stack according to the table. Chapter 4 or 5 map tiles are not used in the scenario. Special rules whenever you defeat a level 2. You're gonna score points for it.
I think it's on here somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, so the hunt isn't too long of an introductory scenario, which is why it might be like 30 minutes per player. Because on the box, it specifies 30 to 120 minutes per player. So if you have a 4-player game that goes 120 minutes per player, you know, that's a nice 8-hour day.
Let's see here. What is
going towards the end?
Yeah, I was gonna see like what's our most intense things. 15 standard game rounds.
Yeah, that's
up to 20 game rounds for Banishing of Brathsa.
Well, that's probably the dragon.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It looks like it.
Is it actually the dragon?
Well, I'm not sure. It's got this purple hue though, which is the same color that the dragon's consumed in. So, not entirely sure.
That's some good visual cues there. That's some good context clues.
Either way, cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited. We're gonna play. We had to get it open. Figured to open it up on camera here. Very excited about how it looks. And with that, let us know what scenario you're interested in seeing us play, or have you already dived into this? And are you enjoying it so far?
Ooh, I'd be interested. Yeah, if people have already started,
Yeah.
let me know what you think. If you have, if you haven't, let me know what you think.